Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Welcome to this platform on the occasion of the 9th Symposium. I'm Lieutenant Jai, member of the Navy's Communication Unit. It's an honor and a privilege for me to welcome today Admiral Godwin, BESSING, Chief of Staff of the Ghana Navy. Admiral, welcome and thank you for granting us this opportunity. With your kind permission, sir, I would like to proceed with my first question.
Please go ahead, and thank you for having me.
Admiral, how would you assess the implementation of the Yaoundé architecture in ECOWAS and in Zone F 12 years after it was established?
Okay, before I go into the details of your question, permit me to express my sincere appreciation to the Chief of Naval Staff of the Senegalese Navy, my senior colleague, Rear Admiral Abdulsen, and our various stakeholders, partners who have made this gathering possible. Well, the Yaoundé architecture, as we all know, came to birth in June 2013. 12 years down the line, it is actually proper for us to make an evaluation of this important architecture to see whether it has served our interests, how we can make it better. For me, the architecture has actually set up some maritime security framework to assist the Gulf of Guinea, ECAS, and then ECOWAS states to stem the tide of maritime crimes in the Gulf of Guinea. 12 years down the line, provisions have been made for the establishment of the Interregional Coordinating Center, which is an important link that coordinates the regional coordinating centers, Grismao, and then the other one. And down the line, we have the multinational maritime coordinating centers, where Ghana actually hosts Zone F. We have countries like Ghana, like Cote d'Ivoire, Liberia, Sierra Leone, Guinea, and Burkina Faso in Zone F. I'm happy to mention that Zone F was actually operationalized in 2018, so that is 7 years ago. Unfortunately, the modalities that have been put in place by the Yaoundé architecture have not been fully realized in Zone F. And why am I saying this? We are supposed to have liaison officers from all the member countries that constitute Zone F. But as I talk to you now, it is only the director from La Côte d'Ivoire who, in partnership with the Ghana Navy and other stakeholders in the maritime industry in Ghana, are actually manning the zone. It is interesting to note that the inability of the other country to provide liaison officers stems mainly from funding, because they are supposed to sponsor their liaison officers, get them accommodation, and pay their allowances. But this has largely not been realized because the other member countries do not have the funding to ensure that. So going forward, in the military, I think tactical operations actually drive operations at the operational level. So if tactically we are not getting it right, we don't expect that at the operational level will get it right. The other issue is the fact that zones are supposed to do joint patrols. But if you look at the operational capability of the maritime forces in the zone, I would describe it as quite fragile. It is not the responsibility of our maritime institutions to provide what it takes, the assets, for us to do our duties at sea. So it will be proper going forward to see how best we can get our politicians out of this sea blindness, for them to know exactly what we lose not equipping our maritime forces well. Statistics reveal that, particularly in Ghana, we lose close to $200 million to IUU fishing. And in the entire Gulf of Guinea region, it amounts to about $2.3 billion. These are resources that could go to rejuvenate the navies that we have, so that instead of losing these resources, we can get these resources back for national development. So in my view, there is still a lot to be done, but the fact that our seas have remained quiet since 2010 and 2011, when we had this piracy on our hands, it is an indication that at least some achievement, modest achievement, is being made as a result of the Yaoundé architecture. But there's still a lot yet to be done. Thank you.
Thank you, Admiral, for that detailed assessment. Building on your perspective, this naturally leads me to a broader question. Today, there seems to be a consensus on the need to improve and strengthen the Yaoundé architecture. In your view, Admiral, what should be the main focus areas on this initiative?
Yes, this architecture was actually the brain of heads of states. And we were supposed to develop the operational modalities. I think first and foremost, 12 years is enough for us to get back on board and do a reassessment whether we are actually getting it right. And like I mentioned, there should be that political will to support whatever operations that we undertake. And it will be good, maybe working through ECOWAS, and then ECOWAS through our various ministries of foreign affairs down to the presidents, to let them know what gaps are actually associated with the implementation of the Yaoundé Code of Conduct, and to let them see the need for investment into our navies. So at the strategic level, that is what I will propose. But from our level as operational commanders, we can also work through our various institutions, through our Ministry of Defense, and then also work our way up. In Ghana, for instance, we have a parliamentary select committee for defense and interior. And I think these are the people that we can easily work through. Once they know the difficulties we have and the resources that we are losing at sea, I believe they can buy in and then advocate for us to be resourced to perform our duties.
Thank you, sir, for sharing those insights on the architectural feature. To conclude, I would like to shift from the strategic to a more specific point. Admiral, how would you evaluate your participation in this symposium and your stay as well in Dakar?
It has been very refreshing. And then just to let you know, this is the second time I'm participating in this symposium. The first time I was here, I was then Director of Operations to one of our Chiefs of Naval Staff in 2017. And then here I find myself now in the seat participating in this very important symposium. The reception has been very good, and I'm not surprised that we have a kind of African hospitality that cuts across all the cultures in Africa. So it has been very much refreshing, accommodation perfect, and then I'll say the Senegalese hospitality is just like the Ghanaian hospitality. And then I want to particularly thank the Chief of Naval Staff and his staff for facilitating and making our stay here very refreshing. I'm most grateful.